please make sure you go over to YouTube, subscribe, or you can always find us on any of the podcast platforms, and that's Fostering Change. Well, it's so hard to believe that the season has ended. The fact is that when I did season 1 of this podcast, I actually was on my next guest podcast. I will never forget it. First podcast I had ever done. And now all of a sudden, I'm in my 5th season. I'm ending it. I know I told everybody this was going to be the last season, but my producers informed me that this isn't the last season. We already have people booked for season 6. But you know what? I wanted to end this season on such a high note. I wanted to, this has been such a crazy year for everybody. It's been a crazy year for so many things, so many kids in our foster care system. We keep hearing this that, 1 child every 2 minutes. I really want to see the statistics in that because I don't believe that's true. I believe that number has increased. I believe that we have not had a true count since 2021. I believe that once again, we are doing things that we should not be doing. And let me give you an example. Children deserve and need permanency. Simple as that. They deserve and they need permanency. And my next guest, we're going to have a little bit of talk about that. She is actually the host of the Sarah Fraser Show. She is a podcast host. She has been from my hometown. I met her many, many years ago as I listened to her on 99.5, and then she had her own show on 107.3. And then, of course, she was with all my amazing friends at Fox 5, who, by the way, they're all gone now, except for 1 or 2. But other than that, Sarah, welcome to Fostering Change.
Oh my God, Rob, I love you so much. Oh, RIP. I mean, they're all still alive, thankfully, thank God. But, to our friends at Fox 5, where we all worked, we had so much fun. But yes, you're right. They've all moved on. They've all moved on.
They did. It's like the thing. And I know this hasn't anything to do with foster care, but I want to throw this out there for a couple
Yeah.
minutes. You and I, because we're such good friends. It's like, why do people need to come in and change things that are not broken?
Oh my God, I know. Well, it's like the radio business. Now the local news TV business is having such a hard time. They're going through because thank you for that beautiful introduction. People probably know me best. In 2007, I got hired on the Kane Show on Hot 99.5 in DC, which became this like nationally syndicated #1 morning show. But I always say I got the last great years of radio, and we could see the writing on the wall then that just people were tuning out. And once podcasts came, we really knew that that was the game changer for it all. And unfortunately, now morning news is going through that. In the days where you had these unbelievable Sue Pelkas and the Jim Vances, and they were,
Holly Morris.
Holly Morris, these legendary local news personalities that, years ago made buku bucks. It just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen anymore. It's not happening. News stations have to slash their budgets. I think a lot of these anchors are seeing the writing on the wall that they can be doing other projects. And unfortunately, a lot of our friends moved on. But I have to say, I was 13 years as a contributor at Fox 5 DC, and I loved it. From management to the people, they were unbelievable. I've worked in some wild environments, and the people there were actually so collaborative. Other huge personalities were not egomaniacs. They were kind. They were generous with their knowledge of the business. So I actually miss it living here in LA because they were really one of a kind. But it's a changing business.
Yeah, you know what? The fact is you're right. I mean, I was just on Fox the other day, and they, even the new ones, they're such great people, and I'm getting ready to do another event with Fox in the next couple of weeks. But I have to ask you a quick question before we jump into foster care, because that's the reason I wanted to have you on here. Why are you not doing that crazy show in the evening time that I can never think of the name of it with
Like it or not.
yes, like it or not.
With Angie Goff and Jim Lokay.
Yes.
The incredible management team at Fox 5 who put up with me for years, because I would always come in and I have wild ideas. I'm like Sarah on this street, and I interview people that are drunk and coming out of Ubers, and they're like, Sarah, this is good. We're trying to do legitimate news here. They put up with me for years. But the long and the short is they said to me, Fraser, you moved to LA. We supported you moving there, but we can't keep you employed with you out here in the sun and on the beach while our anchors have to come in. And so we love you, but unless you're moving back,
Oh,
we got to have people in studio. They were so generous to me. So I said, look, I get it. You guys have been they've just been, I can't say enough good about them and how
yeah,
much I love there, but I get it. I think after their pandemic, they really wanted talent back in studio. And I agree with them. I think you have much better chemistry in real life than you
right.
do. Even though I was a known personality and had been there a long time, I think they just wanted the show to be in studio. So I understand, but you never know. You might see me in Fox LA. I have a great relationship with my Fox fam, so we'll see.
I love that. I love that. So listen, I got to see you a couple of weeks ago. I was able to finally give you that big hug and we got to update our picture from like 5 years ago. I got to absolutely love all over KJ, your son. Oh my gosh, still, I cannot think enough about that little boy. But one of the things that you and I started to talk about immediately was the fact of, you thinking about becoming a foster parent, wanting to adopt. And you and I have talked about this for years, by the way. Prior to you having KJ, when I was on your podcast, you actually brought that up that, maybe down the road that you would consider fostering to adopt and, after you had your children. And so now all of a sudden that's starting to maybe become a reality. And I really want our listeners to know, where did you come to that point to say, you know what, it's time for me to do the next part of the investigating?
I think because after having KJ, you just do. People always say the cliche, like it goes so fast when you have kids. It goes so fast. It goes so fast. And you don't believe it until you have your child. And then we woke up this April and he turned 3. So my husband and I have always, and especially me, I mean, I'm talking since I was probably in college, I've always had this desire to adopt. And I, I just said to Dan, my husband, a couple of months ago, I said, we got to do it. It's now or never. We've talked about it. I don't know. Maybe the process won't be for us because you and I can talk about this and you're certainly much more up to speed. But California is an interesting state, right? They give the children a lot of chances to be reacclimated with their biological families, much different than other states. So I said, look, maybe it won't work out, but we have this desire. And I truly believe that God always plants those seeds in you for a reason. So I'm just like, now's the time. Now's the time. Let's go through the certification process. Let's start. We may not get a placement, maybe it's a year before we get a placement, right? But let's just pursue it because I do believe something good is going to come from it. And I think our forever child, and my Lord, I mean, you've been with me as a friend for a decade. You're going to be at that forever ceremony. Like, damn it, this chick, I mean, 15 years ago, honey, I was telling you to do this, but my baby is out there. And I mean, Rob, I can't tell you, I really disliked children until I was 35 and my biological clock kicked in. And I will tell you, there's nothing more I love than being a mom. Like if you told me today today, like you have to pick your podcast or being a mom of 3, which I'm only a mom of 1, by the way, I would be like, yes, mother. Like, I love it. I just love it. I love these little angels. And what some of these kids have to go through, I think if Dan and I can just give them a stable home over and over again to come back to, it's like, what a gift, right? You
Yeah.
taught me that.
Yeah, and the fact is, it's like me being a dad. If someone said I had to give up every single thing that I have now and the only thing I can do is be a dad, I'd be a dad because there is nothing better than the gift of being a parent, especially as you're watching them grow and you watch them mold into their own selves. And, I was thinking just when I was with you and I was with KJ, just, how Mr. Personality he is. And he just is like, this is my show and I want to go up and down those stairs, or I'm going to take my cars and I'm going to roll them down that table. It's being a parent is one of the greatest gifts in the world. You talk about the laws in California, and I have actually been doing some research since I've met you. Well, since I met you in LA. And, and you are right. I mean, we're seeing a lot of different things happening throughout the state. But have you and Dan thought about maybe going out of state? Because you do know that you can actually do that, is that you can actually foster to adopt and from other states.
Okay. I didn't really know this. I had years ago through the radio been introduced to a woman that helps with adoption in Texas. And but it wasn't really a foster to adopt situation per se. You meet the biological mom if she decides you're a good
Right.
match. Like
Mhm.
you kind of do this agreement, and then again, she sort of has this period even after she has the baby where she may keep the child. She may let you adopt the baby. You never know. So we'd heard that, but no, I didn't know. So you're telling, so basically we live in California. You're saying I could foster to adopt a child in
There
Nevada?
are, so right now there's 120,000 children that are waiting for forever families. I mean, that means the parents' rights have been severed. And that is the thing that we just seem not to talk about in society. We continue to keep talking about children that are in foster care and reunification, but what about all of these kids who the parents' rights have already been severed, and they're all over the United States? And these kids range, and by the way, the average age is around 5 to 7 years old. So that's still a very young age for a child. And so, I really, I know I've connected you to some great people that will really help you, but I'm telling you that those are options that you guys should look into as well. Because as much as, I look back at my kids, and my first four kids arrived at 6 months, 2, 2, and 4, the love that I have for my 18-year-old when he arrived. I never thought that I could love a kid like that at that age and not have watched him grow up. And now, I look at my son, he's now 23, and I couldn't imagine, I mean, him not in my life, so, that it, like I said, it's a big step. It's a big step. But what do you think the next step is going to be for the two of you? Have you already started to sign up for a class? Did you reach out to my friend Jennifer? What's the next thing?
Jennifer and I are having a coffee or a phone chat next because we have been interviewing with agencies here in Los Angeles. And I told you, I appreciate they're very transparent with you. But the one agency we just interviewed with, she said, I want you guys to think about this because we are no longer taking on couples who want to foster to adopt a child under the age of 5. We have such a long waiting list. They're just to your point, the California laws are a bit different. They're not taking kids out of homes necessarily as quickly as they used to. I don't know if that's good or bad. You are by far much more educated on this. So that was one agency. I'm speaking with your friend Jennifer. We actually had interviewed with another agency, which was pretty similar to the one that just kind of told us, like, hey, we're only going to work with you if you're willing to take on a child over 5. So we've been looking at agencies. I think really the scariest part, but I know Jennifer will guide me, is you just don't know. I think I get too much caught up in reading like reviews and Reddits, and you don't know, like all these agencies have pros and cons. And so you're like, oh, which one is for me? Which one is going to really guide me? And it's a little, it's nerve-wracking, right? But I feel like that's probably every foster
It
parent
is.
feels
It
that
is.
way.
I just on Saturday, Reese and I just we set in on someone's dissertation that they're doing all based on agencies and the experience of a foster parent and what they go through. So we just spent 3 hours, like I actually had 3 hours to spend, but I was so wanting to be involved in this and to talk about what foster parents are going through. And you look at the state of California, for example, and just like so many other states, this is the biggest problem I have with this. I'm a true believer that foster care is not the answer. And once a child comes into the system, we've already failed. And I am a believer that reunification should happen. The problem that I have when we throw these blanket laws like that, we have children who sit in a system and flounder. And I mean, literally year after year, home after home. I just met a young girl. She's 16 years old. She's been in the system since she was 2. She's been in 12 homes. That is not acceptable because of the fact that we keep giving opportunities. I think we need to get back to the basics knowing that we all fall, Sarah, by the way, every parent falls. We all do. We all do something. You've probably done it already with KJ that you're like, damn, I wish I wouldn't have did that part. And I know I've done it with my children, but I think that what has to happen is that children should not be pawns, and we can't wait for, adults to adult. We need to be like, listen, you have 12 months. You have 12 months to get your act together. I'll give you housing. I'll put you through rehab. I'll help you with your education, whatever it is. But you have 12 months. And in 12 months, if you have not invested in that child, it's time for that child to move on.
Hey, I mean, it doesn't make sense to me as somebody that is new to this process. I'm with you. I mean, it seems strange to me. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of, it sounds like what we're going to be facing a little bit here in LA is like, God, they do get reunified chances up to 18 months, it sounds like. And then if that doesn't happen, sometimes they're even looking for a family member. Family members kind of come in, at the last minute. So I think, we're really in for an education for sure, I think. But what I love about you, Robin, I'm beginning to open my eyes and I guess my heart a little bit more to is an older child, because we've been asked that keeps popping up for us. And 6 years old, 7 years old. And I really too, I went to an event Jennifer had for a fundraiser for fostering to adopt here in LA to support agencies. And they had these beautiful kids, these sibling groups at the front. And I'm like, man, we need a sibling group. Like, so I just want to get going and get in the system and start knowing these social workers and start knowing these amazing people. And I just know the right situation will come.
I agree with you. And I love the fact that you and Dan are starting to open up your heart for an older child, because I will tell you, the fact is that, you know, when our kids arrived, even like I said, Amaya was 4, she was going on 5, my gosh, I mean, there was so much for her still to learn. And I look at her now as 19, and I think to myself, that sweet little girl at the age of 4. And I believe that you are right. There are kids out there that are 4, 5, 6 years old who truly could use that guidance. And the fact is that, let me tell you, when Alex arrived, I was very concerned with Amaya being the oldest child, that all of a sudden now I have a kid coming in older than Amaya. And I was really, really, really shocked that all 4 of our kids really embraced that older brother, that really loved having that older brother, whether it was driving them places or whether it was just hanging out and throwing the foot. They really grasped that older brother. And it wasn't like, well, I've been in this house longer than him. And so I could see that with KJ. I could see that, grasping that older brother, like, I'm going to wrestle with you, or I've got somebody to play ball with. So, hey, Sarah, I will tell you, I am the luckiest person because I get to call you my friend. I absolutely love you and your husband and KJ and your whole family, your mom, your brother, your niece, all
They
of
always
them.
ask about you. They
You
always
know,
say,
we
how's
I
mom? Is
feel
he
like
mom?
I know. I feel like we're family already. And so listen, I'm excited. I'm excited for the next chapter. I can't wait for you to come on to the next season and talk to us about, what the experience is. And the thing that I will take away for this episode is, everybody, I want everyone to listen and understand, you got to give each other grace. You got to be able to allow each other to ask the questions that some of us don't know. Some of us haven't lived in the system as long as I've lived in the system, and a lot of things don't make sense. And as many emails as I will receive about the whole reunification 12-month thing, I got tough skin. What I think we all need to understand is that by us investing in our children, truly invest in our future. And that's what I think that we all need to do, Sarah. And so thank you for taking this time. Thank you for ending season 5 on such a high. I am so, so excited. I'm like, literally, I'm on cloud 9 that I can end season 5. I need the couple of months break. When do you take your breaks?
Well, I'm getting ready to take 2 this summer. I can't wait. I'm podcasted out as well.
Yeah.
Because I do a podcast essentially every day on the Sarah Fraser show. It's a lot. But as you know, you met me when I was doing morning radio, which was 5 days a week, at least a 4-hour show. And then I went on and had the Sarah show. So I'm used to doing a lot of content every single day, but I'm ready for a break too. You got to like mentally turn it off. Yeah. And just recharge.
Well, make sure you give the family my love, and I can't wait to see you again. And I know you and I'll be talking in the next couple of
Oh,
weeks.
I can't
Everybody,
thank you.
this has been another amazing episode of Fostering Change. You know, this season has had so many ups and so many downs, and we've learned so much, and we've been able to talk to such great people, some authors, some kids who have aged out of our system, and then, of course, some of my dearest and dearest closest friends. And you know, if you take this summertime off, the thing I hope that you all do is continue to do what I ask each and every season, and that is to be a good human. Take care, everybody. Hey, everybody, it's Rob Scheer, the founder of Comfort Cases, and thanks for tuning in to Fostering Change. You can actually watch a couple of episodes right here